Blimey, what a journey. Ah, there you are, James. How are you doing, Chief?
I'm extremely well, David. I've missed seeing you for a couple of weeks, but there you go. You look extremely well. If I could see you, but maybe we should light a candle.
Well, it's not dark yet. It's those
No,
dark, it's those dark glasses you're wearing, mate.
is
Take
it?
them off.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I'm beginning to get worried about it now. Yeah, but after all, we are in Transylvania.
Yeah.
Anyway, where's Ingrid?
I don't know. She cleared off, David. She was obviously very excited to meet you, and a little while ago she just cleared off. So I've no idea why. But
I have that effect on people.
do you?
Yes. Never mind. How's the XJS going?
It's going extremely well, David. It hasn't overheated or misbehaved in any way, shape, or form. It's been remarkable.
Right, so not at all like a Triumph Stag then.
No, not at all like a Triumph Stag.
Right, okay. Yes, indeed. Well, shall I tell you about my journey?
Well, I don't know. Would it be of interest to the listeners, David? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, one of us got here by XGS with a Hammer horror film actress.
Yeah.
The other one had to come by canoe, do some train hopping, and then come on a rickety folding bike.
Right.
And it's quite a long way from Ayrshire to Transylvania, let me tell you. And I'll tell you what else. That blooming sea was choppy. It was really choppy.
It was. Goodness me.
Yeah.
But you're here, David. You made it. I mean, what a wonderful triumph over adversity. Even a Triumph Stag over adversity.
Absolutely. Do you think it serves me right for trying to cycle across the Bay of Biscay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, probably. Well, do you see any interesting cars on your way?
Well, especially in this local area, it's full of Dachas, isn't it? Even though we say Dacias, really, but according to the adverts, they're Dashers, but really they're Renaults, aren't they? Especially the old ones. It was nice to see all those 16s and 12s and sort of quite curious things that they've created. For the Romanian market, as well as, and in fact, there was Auto Romania. I'm sure you're familiar with that mark, which is a bit. It looks like a bit like a Defender, which they had for many years, and you still see plenty of those knocking around.
Well, I was thinking more of a Citroen, the old Cit. Remember that?
Yes, I do actually.
Just as a Citroen, yes. But anyway, I saw loads of classic cars.
Did you? Absolutely.
When I was canoeing and cycling and jumping from train to train. Not one of them would give me a lift. Not one. No. Anyway, I suppose we better go into this big castle we're at.
We could do. Yeah.
Look, are you sure it's the right place? So it looks a little bit dilapidated.
Well, according to the XJS SatNav, which is a 1938 AA route map, we are at the correct place.
SatNav. All I got was asking a bloke called Ego in the local village, and he went, over there. Something like that, yeah. He was creeping me out, the guy did.
Did he?
Anyway, right. Oh, let's go in. Okay. Here we go. Blimey, it's a bit dark in here, James. What do you reckon?
Oh, it's dark now. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I better take my glasses off, hadn't I?
It's dark. It's dark without them, mate.
Is it?
Jeez, look at the cobwebs. God, I think it's the cleanest day off or something.
Oh, could be, couldn't it?
Oh, hang on, somebody's coming. Visitors. Welcome, gentlemen, to Castle Rubinstein. I trust you won't be too troubled by the damage. It is only, cosmetic, after all. I imagine that you are hungry after coming such a long way. Dinner will be served soon, but perhaps first you could tell me about some of the motor cars you have seen on your travels. What about sort of horror cars? Don't say Frankenstein because that's the wrong guy and he's in Germany.
Oh, did it? All right.
I think so. But you know what I mean. Any cars that you've seen lately that might look a bit like that? Renault 7, for example. The Renault 5 hatchback that was made in Spain.
No, I haven't. But I have seen pictures of them, but I don't think I've ever seen one in real life. And if I've not seen it in real life, it may not exist. But I'm sure it does.
Well, I'll tell you who does some good Frankenstein cars, Count.
Yeah,
I'll tell you. Chris Bangle.
Well, by comparison to what BMW are pushing out now, Um, I don't know whether I could agree with that, but there you go.
Well, all I'm going to say about Chris Bangle
Yeah.
is that if Marmite made cars, he'd style
Mm,
them.
yeah.
Anyway, going back to my travels, James, and
Yes.
you might be interested in this too, account. I got rather lost. Navigation is not my strong point, and someone had sloped off not only with the XJS but with our portable sat nav, and I ended up at an abandoned house in Dorset. I don't know how I got there. The locals looked even scarier than they do here, to be honest.
Goodness me.
It was, yeah. But when I got there, the place was in ruin outside, and it wasn't much better inside. But I found a bunch of cars that had been left there for years. I don't know what they were doing. They were all sorts. I mean, what I saw, James, I saw
Yeah.
Peugeot 405.
Goodness me.
Worse than that, I saw a
Yeah.
Triumph Acclaim.
That's okay.
A Triumph Acclaim. Oh, no, but yeah, we haven't got to the cherry in the cake yet. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, I did see a Cherry 120A, and there was a ladder. But just to sort of add to the confusing picture, there was also a Citroen Saxo, and
All right.
not one of them had turned a wheel in years. Some of them in worse condition than others, it has to be said, but
Yeah.
none of them were great. I looked into it, and Urban Explorers have visited the house in the past. Do you know
Yeah.
what Urban Explorers are, Count? Yeah, I don't. I've had a few here. Yeah, I've never seen any videos from here, mind you, but we'll not go into that. They apparently say
Mm,
that the lady who owned the house
yeah.
left it so quickly and decisively
Oh
that
dear.
she never came back for the cars, let alone her furniture or replenishings. So I have to say, I didn't spend the night in the house. I might have spent the night in the boot of a Triumph Acclaim, but we're not going to go into that.
Yeah. I don't know why someone wouldn't go back for one of those, but there you go, because they're quite rare now.
Yes,
Well, rare for a reason, but at least they didn't break down as much as a Dolomite would have done.
well, indeed, indeed. So, what about you, James? Do you have any really creepy cars?
Um, Creepy cars.
Uh, Well, we want to indulge the count, don't we?
And what are these creepy cars? Do they just look creepy, David?
Well,
Let's
I'm thinking
be honest.
freaky looking cars.
Oh, freaky looking cars. Well,
Yes.
um, uh, I mean, I always go. My fallback position is usually the kit car industry, and there was a range of cars called the Seaver, which were made by Neville Trickett, who was a sort of a big wig in the kit car scene, as they say, in the late '60s, early '70s. And he had something called the Seaver Saluki. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a gull wing thing,
I
and
thought she was a Japanese actress.
no, absolutely
Huh.
no. She wasn't the one.
All right.
In You Only Live Twice,
Right.
but no, it was a gull wing coupe, but really only a mother could love it, and it had a very high ride height, which was very strange.
Do you think that was to comply with American bumper height standards?
I
They were introduced, you know.
I very much doubt it somehow. But I mean, talk often turns to the mini moke here, uh, I must say, and there is actually a fantastic little car called a Grantura Yak. I don't know if you've ever seen a Grantura Yak, and that's like a moke gone wrong, really. Obviously based on a mini, and it looks slightly mokish, but it's just wrong on most levels, really. So I would advise people to go and have a look for one of those. That apparently came out in 1970,
All right.
which is always worth a look. Um, there is, I don't know, there was a phase where the Carlton Carrera was a sort of, I think it was what was that based on? Let me just double check myself. Um,
I'm
yeah,
amazed you've even brought your books with you.
they were. Well, I have to, David. Yeah, they were Cortina based, and well, you know, if it's Cortina, then it's Capri based as well. But you could have Cortina, Rover, or V8 power, and that sort of looked like a 240Z gone wrong. Yeah, there's an awful lot of things like that. And also there's the I'll tell you what. Have you ever heard of the Bohanna Stables Nymph? What a
You know,
fantastic name that is.
yes, I know all about the Bohanna Stables
Do
now.
you really?
I've written about it for a magazine, my
Have you
boy.
really?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
I even have spoken to the son of one of the. I've even chatted on the web to the son of one of the designers.
goodness me.
Well, you think about the name.
Hmm.
You do know it was designed by the same guys who designed the original EC3000ME prototype.
No idea, David. No.
Yeah, what is? Yeah,
Hmm.
it was from High Wycombe of all places.
All right.
My thanks. That was very interesting. I do not know about you gentlemen, but I love to get my teeth into a good film. I wondered perhaps if you gentlemen might let me know of any good scary films that you have seen, perhaps ones with cars in them. We're both fans of horror films, aren't we, James? I
We are
believe.
very much so.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And if I may kick us off with a film I think you might like, James.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's got a car in it called The Thing.
Oh, right.
The car's not creepy, but it's it's a John Carpenter film. Therefore, it's
Mm,
brilliant. It's a 1980 version of The Fog. Forget
mm,
the 2005 or 2006 remake, which
mm,
is it's not very good. Look at this one, Kent. You're going to love it. There's a nice Volkswagen thing in it on the North Californian coastline being driven along the North Californian coastline up to the Point Reyes lighthouse, I think it is. And it's rather nice. It's not really suitable for, I think, for the climate here, though. I think maybe you're wanting more of a closed car, possibly something with a little bit more privacy in the thing. But yeah, I would definitely say that one's a very good car and indeed a brilliant film. What about you, James? You get anything?
I've got all sorts of things, David, but I suppose related to that, there is Psycho, which is one of the most
Mm.
obvious of the horror genre. And it's very interesting because you see Janet Leigh buys a 57 Ford Custom for, when she escapes. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, but she's stolen quite a lot of money. And so she pays for cash with a car, as we all do when we're on the road, as you should have done, David, on your way to Transylvania,
No
rather,
cash.
rather than, yeah, what, haven't you got any cash? Oh, I thought you were
No,
lazy.
no.
But she does that, and obviously she ends up in a shower at one point, and then after the shower, she ends up in the boot of the car, and then the car ends up in a river.
So she not only buys the car, but she buys it in the film as well.
She certainly buys it in the film and only gets towed out at the end. So yeah, that's a reason for seeing the Ford Custom sedan.
All right. And
Um,
of course, we can link that to the fog as
can
well.
you?
That film. Well, of course we can. Yes, Janet Leigh's in the
Yeah.
fog as well, and indeed her daughter Jamie
Mm,
Lee Curtis
yeah.
has a very significant role in the fog. So mum and daughter both appear in the same film.
Goodness me.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I've got another one for you. I'm
Yeah.
going to go to Swinging London.
Yeah.
Well, it just a sort of tail end of Swinging London. It wasn't swinging quite so hard by this time.
No.
A film made in 1971, released in 1972, and that is, of
Yeah.
course, Dracula AD 1972
Mm,
by one of our favourite film companies, Hammer Films. It's a
really.
genuine, and it features a genuine Hammer horror girl. And do you know who that is, James?
Could be Caroline Munro,
It
possibly. I don't
is.
know, David.
Ah, damn you!
Yeah.
You got. I was going to say you're a rum chap, and there was a little pun for the knowing because she also
Uh,
used to do Lamb's Navy Rum, didn't she as
she
well?
certainly did. Yeah, she did many adverts,
But
and she's extremely well known, I think, for being in a Bond film, David.
she was, yes, she
Mm,
was in The Spy Who Loved Me.
yeah.
But that not the best ending for her. But we'll not go into that. But anyway, dear old Caroline was in a
Yeah.
rather wonderful, somewhat kitsch film from
Mm,
1972. I love it, and it features a Triumph Stag, and I believe the Triumph Stag they used was a pre-production car in, I think, Mimosa Yellow.
goodness
Um,
me.
I think it was Mimosa. I don't know
Mm,
BL colours very well. I'm not sure they did either sometimes, to be
yeah.
honest. The guys in the paint shop, but yeah, I think it's a Mimosa Yellow Triumph Stag, and you know what the most scary thing about that film is, James?
No, tell me.
It doesn't break down once in it.
Really?
No,
Well,
that's got to be black magic.
yeah. Well,
So
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's very, very reassuring to hear. Yeah, maybe as it's a pre-production, they got it right, and then they steadily got it wrong as it got closer to production. I should
well,
think, but
oh, hang on, that's right. Yes,
mm,
I believe the castings of the engines in the pre-production cars
mm,
were different
yeah.
from those on production cars. They were a different supplier, so possibly that's why. But I still think it was black magic. I don't care. So what else you got, James?
Well, David, one I'll spring on you is Carry On Screaming, which is one of the best Carry On films, and Jim Dale's in that, who was in it because Sid James couldn't be, and there are two outstanding cars in that. There's a rather wonderful Renault 2030 limousine. I can't remember what year it was, but it's certainly sort of very early teens, and it's a lovely big car. And the one that the police inspector drives around and is a 1904, and you'd think this is made up, but it's a brushmobile. Uh, and apparently that was lent by Bewley, and it now resides, whether the internet is correct or not, in the National Motor Museum of Kuala Lumpur, but in Kuala Lumpur, but I don't know whether that's true or not. But
Good grief.
yeah, all that sounds made up. But no, there is a magnificent vintage cars in that, which is good.
Would you have to be daft as a brush to buy one? That's what I
You
want to know.
probably would be, wouldn't you? But apparently they
Yes.
only made like six of them or something.
Ah.
It's an extremely not very well known car at all. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, for me, yes, I mean, I would hang around the Hammer genre. Although actually, the last film I will mention is not a Hammer film, but Tales from the Crypt
Ah.
in 1973. There's Ian Hendry is leaving his wife with his mistress, and he's in an XJ6 which crashes in a fiery ball.
Oh dear, how
Uh,
sad. Never mind.
yeah, that's right. Although I'm not quite sure whether that is an XJ6 that actually gets crashed at the end, but there you go. It could be. It's one of those portmanteau films, so you have loads of little stories. Well, six stories or five stories. I can't remember. And the most magnificent one is Richard Green, who is driving a Jensen Interceptor, and he is assailed by very creepy skulls motorcyclists around, and it looks like the Millbrook track actually. And I would appreciate someone saying yes or no to that, but it looks very much as though the only place they could get the motorbikes out is obviously on a closed off road at some point, but it certainly looks like that. Or the Cobham track where cars always used to be. That is, yeah, no, we're okay, David. Just a message coming through from my travelling companion,
Ah.
just saying that she'll be with us soon. But yeah, Richard Green in a Jensen Interceptor, and then finally, actually back to Hammer. I lied about that with the Satanic Rites of Dracula, where there's a lot of Mini Mark One action in that. I think there's probably a few other cars, but I just remember that extremely clearly. And I saw the trailer the other day, and yeah, it's more motorcycles pursuing cars. So it's a very mousy secretary being pursued in a Austin Mini Mark One by two motorcyclists. And yeah, spoiler alert, she ends up as a vampire, so not so
Oh dear.
mousy. But there you go.
Mm.
Joanna Lumley's in that one as well.
Right. Yes, we all know a joke about that, but we're not going to go there.
No.
Yes, well, you're saying about Carry On Screaming. There must be Ingrid again.
Yeah,
Um,
she's yeah.
very persistent
Sorry
girl.
about that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Carry On Screaming. I believe Harry H. Corbett's in it. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he replaced
Right.
Sid James, and actually, it was a very good substitution.
Mm.
It was extremely good. Peter Butterworth is in that as well. He's very
Right.
good. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a lot of regulars from the Carry On film in that, and actually, that probably made it all the better. Actually,
Mm. Well, I was going to tell account a little story here. I don't
mm.
know if you're familiar account with Harry H. Corbett. If you've seen Steptoe and Son, their place was kind of in a similar state to this.
Mm.
Which I do apologise if I offended you for saying that, but I posted a picture on my social media account. I think it was Twitter. That's what you call an avatar. And it was a
All
picture
right.
of I was Harry H. Corbett as Harold Steptoe, and a person whom I know on social media who hadn't met me and still
Yeah.
hasn't thought it was
No.
me. So it was quite amusing.
Yeah.
I was quite honoured, actually. I have to say,
Um,
Harry H. Corbett. Yes, I'm going to leave, but one more film to tell you about, and it's quite scary. It's another British film. We're very fond of British horror films in particular. The Man Who Haunted Himself,
mm.
and it's significant for perhaps two reasons. One is that the protagonist is actually Well, the two protagonists in it effectively. One of them drives a Rover 3.5 litre, which is the old P5B model, probably before your time count. And also, and I'm sure you've had one of these because you're obviously a very wealthy man, a Lamborghini Islero S, isn't it? Now, when was the last time you saw that in a film? In fact, when was the last time you ever saw one of those? But it's in that film. And we would recommend, certainly I would, that you go and check it out as soon as you can. Once of course, you've fed your visitors. There's one other thing. I believe a friend of yours is making a movie just now, James. Maybe some cars in it.
Well, yes, you mentioned that earlier on because you do more diligent research than I do, David. But yeah, my friend Mark is making a film. I mean, what a lucky cuss he is to be able to do that. But he's very talented. He writes scripts and he has done for many years. And if you'd like to invest in this film, I don't get any money and David doesn't get any money for it. But Trespass the Movie, yeah, if you go to the site, trespassthemovie.com, you can have a look at what they're knocking together, and you have the opportunity to sort of become a film producer type person, which is terribly glamorous, but it should be worth it because there seems to be a lot of backing behind this film. And yeah, I mean, we might end up going to the premiere at some point, David, which would be very exciting.
Well, you might get invited. I probably won't.
Well, no, you can come as my plus one.
My, you gentlemen do know real films. Pardon me. Yes, of course, my dear. My apologies, gentlemen. The Countess, my wife, she is not quite ready yet. No matter, it gives us more time to talk before the dinner. My friend, the head doctor, is looking for a classic car in which to convey his patients. However, he has only 10,000 of your pounds to spend, and he's looking for a black car with a big cargo area to carry things. Can you help him? I'll tell you what, mate, I'm starving. Hope I
Yeah,
can
so
something
am
good.
I, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't smell cooking though.
Can you?
Nah, it's a
No?
big place or something. Maybe the kitchen's out of smell shot.
Yeah,
Well,
most likely.
yeah, then again, we might be getting a salad. How would you feel about that?
I won't be happy with that at all.
Imagine you'd fancy a steak. What about you, Count? Do you like steaks? Was that a stupid question? Anyway, I have found a car for your friend, for the hair doctor. It's in Britain. It's in Birmingham. That's quite a scary place. So
Mm.
you know, be warned if you go there. Don't go at night. It's a 1999 Mercedes E55 AMG estate. It's in black and it's been de-chromed, which I think would look really good. A good
Mm.
look for a doctor, especially in a rural area of Transylvania. And guess what? It's even better than that. It's got privacy glass, so there's complete privacy for the doctor and his patients. I suppose they can't be seen. Lots of space in it. You've got electric windows. The front seats are heated, which is great as well because it'll warm them in the winter. I'm imagining winters might get quite cold here. There's all sorts of things, and there's a 6 CD changer so you can play Werewolves of London, etc., and good tunes like that all to his heart's content. It's not cheap though. It's just under £9,000, and it's done 149,000 miles. But the other thing about it is it's got a 5.5 litre V8 engine, and it's got 360 horsepower. So if the doctor ever has to rush somewhere, if it's for example, an emergency, or if he's trying to avoid someone, then he's got loads of power, loads of speed to be able to do it. So I think that would be a nice car for him. But what have you found, James? You might have bettered that one.
Um, very, very doubtful, David. 2005 Mitsubishi L200 Warrior Crew Cab, because that was quite cheap. And there was
Mm.
no VAT to pay on it. And then I even looked at a 200, a 2015 Fiesta 1.5 sport van, incredibly, which was with 147,000 miles on it. Goodness me, they've been going some on that, and that was below 5,000. Again, no VAT. But no, the obviously the best one that I found, because I'm thinking about practicalities the whole time, and also I don't want to blow the complete £10,000 budget, and maybe the doctor might be quite happy about this. But I found a 1981 Renault 12 Estate, because I thought, well, that'd be easy for him to find parts for in Transylvania, because it's basically like a local car. And it's almost black. It's black over silver. It looks like it's hand painted, but it is mostly black, apart from the bits that aren't, sort of the lower doors and stuff like that. And the best bit of all, David. Well, there's two best bits. One of the best bits is it's only £1,600. So there you go. I mean, it's a bargain, isn't it? He'd be so happy that he saved all that money for such an elegant small car. But it's only in Portugal. So I thought that me and Ingrid on the way back we could drop you off in Portugal and then you just drive it back. So I think that would work out quite well, don't you?
I'm not coming back to Transylvania again
No?
after this. No.
Oh, right.
Anyway, so what do you think of those suggestions, Count? Do you like those? Ah, very good choices, gentlemen. I shall be sure to convey your suggestions to the Hell Daughter. What's that, my dear? Ah, very well. My apologies again. The Countess will not be much longer. Uh, she likes to make an entrance, you see. Perhaps in the meantime you could tell me a ghost story. I do love a good ghost story. And well, it is Halloween, is it not? I'll tell you what, mate, I've just got a feeling something's not quite as it should be here. How about we make our excuses?
Yeah, I'm fully on board with that, David, really. But I'd like to know where Ingrid is first.
The XGS is running, James. This isn't one of your excuses, is it?
No, it's. I told you, I haven't told you fibs at all over the last
Uh-huh.
few weeks.
All right. So what is that pool of fluids on the ground under the bonnet? Because I reckon it's not working. And in fact, I took the liberty of phoning the chap from the Transylvanian AA.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won't be here till tomorrow, though.
Oh, right.
So what I'm thinking is perhaps Charlie, my lad over there, might call us a taxi if we ask him nicely. What do you
Yeah,
reckon?
I'm sure he will. Yeah.
Yes, but maybe just to get in his good side. Shall we tell him a ghost story? I mean, we don't want to come across as a right couple of clots.
No, of course not. No. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we've got some very good ones.
Well, I have got a couple of good ones
Yeah.
to do with roads, really. There's
Yeah.
one about an hour away from me. It's the A75 road between, I believe, Dumfries and Gretna. And there have been reports made over the years from people who say they have run over an old man wearing tweed. But when they get out of the car, he's not there. He just steps into the road in front of them.
Yeah.
And they think they go over him or through him or whatever. And they phone the police and there's nothing there. There's nobody. But that pales into insignificance compared to my big ghost story. It's quite a creepy story, and it is apparently true because the police were involved in this. In England, there is a bypass that links Sheffield and Manchester. It's called the Stocks Bridge Bypass. The road number is A616, and it was built in the 1980s. I think it opened on, believe it or not, Friday the 13th in some month or other in 1987. But they were still building it, and two security guards who were working there one evening spotted a group of children dressed in old-fashioned clothes dancing in a circle in a field next to or adjacent to the construction site. And there had previously been complaints from construction workers who had heard children singing and laughing in the dead of night from the caravans. Anyway, they think it's midnight. What are children doing out at this time and running around playing in a circle? So they went to look, and the children vanished from before their eyes, completely gone. The ground was soft where the children had been. There was no trace of them. Anyway, a few minutes later, they were still kind of shaken by what they'd seen. They noticed a figure on a newly constructed bridge as part of the bypass system. And he was looking down at them. And one of the guards stayed where he was to keep looking at the figure. The other one drove his van onto the bridge, and he shone his car headlights at the person in front of him. And the headlights shone straight through the figure, who apparently was dressed like a monk, as if he wasn't there, and he then vanished. So the two security guards basically legged it. They contacted their boss. They went to the police station, told the story to the police, kind of, well, we can do anything about it. And I believe a policeman suggested they go to the church as a joke. The two security guards then went to the local church, and the police had to be called to try and defuse the situation because they refused to leave. So it ended up, the police went out, two police officers went out to the site, and they sat around for a while, nothing happening. And one of them, at some point, said he thought he saw something moving on the bridge. Then the other chap, the other police officer in the vehicle, says, there's something up on top of that bridge moving. I'm going to check it out. So he climbed up the ladder onto the bridge, and it was a sheet of polythene. So they think, it's just a sheet of polythene, nothing to be alarmed. We'll give it a few more minutes, then we'll get on with our other duties. So they go back to the car. And a couple of minutes later, one of them just catches something at the side of the car, and it's a male torso, and you can see a V on it. And he just looked, and this figure vanished, then reappeared on the other side of the car, adjacent to the other window, and vanished. So they get out of the car. There's no hole this guy could have run to, the figure could have run to. They even check underneath the car. He's not there. So they start to drive off, and then there's bangs in the car as if somebody's hitting it. When they get out of the car, there's nobody about. And they're completely spooked by this time. So, they call for other police officers to come. And since then, the road has continued to generate reports of sometimes children dancing, sometimes people on the road. And on one occasion, a jogger and his son say they saw what looked like a monk walking down the middle of the road, but his legs from his knees down were embedded in the road. And this apparently goes on to this day. And that, I believe, is a true story. So what do you have, James?
Oh, that's quite terrifying, David. Well, I can take it quite close to home, actually, on the 1075, which is fairly near to me. And I'm going back to a scary year, 2013, unlucky for some, I think it was. Might have been a bit earlier, might have been a bit later. But there was uh, uh, went to a very scary event, which was a pop concert for teens. And there were people like Little Mix there, and there was boy band action and so forth. So there was nothing really for the adults, but it was a very, very long day. We drove all the way to Alton Towers. That's it. That's where it was. So we went to a creepy castle where there was a concert, and it finished very late. But obviously, being me, I want to drive home. I'm not going to camp out or do anything stupid. Let's go home. So there were lots of teenage girls in the car with my wife and I, and we decided no, let's go home. So it was the very early hours of the morning, and just on the 1075, there was somebody in the middle of the road very suddenly. So I was driving a Land Rover Discovery, a Discovery 2, one of the worst vehicles ever made, a complete utter nightmare of a vehicle. So actually, the handling wasn't too bad, but yeah, I had to drive around someone, so that was not very good at all. I was waiting for the thud because I could see he really was right where I was. I wasn't the only person to see this apparition in front of me, which was good. So I'd been backed up, but yeah, it was a good old swerve. Wasn't a thud, and I looked in the rearview mirrors immediately and couldn't see anything at all. And so yes, so I don't know what happened there. I still thought I'd just been very lucky. Someone had run out and run off, but did do some research and obviously scared these teenage girls later on who were fast asleep and slightly awake after swerving around this apparition, and they were fairly terrified by it. But yeah, research was done, and there is actually a shadowy figure, and it's someone dressed in fairly contemporary clothing. It's not like urchin children and monks that you were talking about, David. But yes, there is actually either a hitchhiker or some lost soul wandering the 1075 in Norfolkshire. And that is, ladies and gentlemen, a true story. That I haven't made it particularly terrifying, apart from sort of saying that there was a concert at Alton Towers. But at the time, it was quite the shock. There are strange things in this world, David, and sometimes we have to drive around them.
Yeah, I mean, this is sort of Norfolk's version of the Elk test, I suppose.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway, well, there you go. There's your ghost story. Any advance on dinner, sir? Any advance? Because we are quite hungry.
Ah, bravo, gentlemen, bravo. And now it is time to meet my wife, the Countess. I'm sure you will be happy to see her. I know she will be delighted to meet you.
But Ingrid, even though I'm married, you never suggested that you were.
Ingrid, yes, the girl from the films. You really thought that my wife was her? Oh, dear gentlemen, you have got that so badly wrong.
Blimey, she really is a sucker for your love. Mind you, oh boy, you can't say she doesn't dress up for dinner.
And we're it, David. Quick, David, think of something for me.
Oh, blimey,
Yeah.
I've got a plan yet. Leg it! Thanks for listening. Hope you'll tune in again if we get out of this. Ah, yes, my dear. Those two idiots are still here, yes? One is running around with a punctured perkit. The other one seems to be trying to jumpstart the dishwasher. This is the best they have to offer. Times have changed. Ah, what is this? A microphone, yes? Ah, very good. I just wish to say to you all then, Happy Halloween and sleep well.